Major wars in history. Ancient wars. 1. Trojan War, circa 1200 BCE. Regions involved: Troy, modern Turkey, versus Greek city-states. Deaths, unknown, likely thousands. Duration, 10 years. Outcome, Greeks won, legendary victory via the Trojan horse. 2. Persian Wars, 499 to 449 BCE. Regions involved: Persian Empire versus Greek city-states, for example, Athens, Sparta. Deaths, tens of thousands. Duration, 50 years, intermittent. Outcome, Greeks won, key battles, Marathon, Thermopylae, Salamis. 3. Peloponnesian War, 431 to 404 BCE. Regions involved: Athens versus Sparta, and their allies. Deaths, 100,000 plus. Duration, 27 years. Outcome, Sparta won. 4. Punic Wars, 264 to 146 BCE. Regions involved: Roman Republic versus Carthage. Deaths, hundreds of thousands. Duration, 118 years, 3 wars. Outcome, Rome won, Carthage destroyed. Ancient empires. 1. Akkadian Empire, circa 2334 to 2154 BCE. Region: Mesopotamia, modern Iraq, Syria, Turkey. Peak, first known empire in history, founded by Sargon of Akkad. Decline, fell due to internal strife and invasions by the Gutians. 2. Egyptian Empire, circa 1550 to 1070 BCE, New Kingdom period. Region: Nile River Valley, modern Egypt, Sudan. Peak, expanded into the Levant and Nubia under pharaohs like Thutmose III and Ramses II. Decline, weakened by invasions, for example, Sea Peoples, and internal decline. 3. Assyrian Empire, circa 911 to 609 BCE. Region: Mesopotamia, Levant, and Egypt. Peak, known for military prowess and brutal conquests. Decline, fell to a coalition of Babylonians and Medes. 4. Persian Empire, Achaemenid Empire 550 to 330 BCE. Region: Middle East, Central Asia, and parts of Europe and Africa. Peak, largest empire of its time, stretching from the Indus Valley to the Balkans. Decline, conquered by Alexander the Great. 5. Mauryan Empire, 322 to 185 BCE. Region: Indian subcontinent. Peak, unified most of India under Ashoka the Great. Decline, fragmented after Ashoka's death. Classical empires. 6. Roman Empire, 27 BCE to 476 CE in the west, 330 to 1453 CE in the east. Region: Mediterranean, Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Peak, controlled vast territories under emperors like Augustus and Trajan. Decline, Western Empire fell due to invasions, economic decline, and internal strife. Eastern, Byzantine, Empire fell to the Ottomans in 1453. 7. Han Dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 CE. Region: China. Peak, Golden Age of Chinese culture, technology, and trade, Silk Road. Decline, fell due to internal rebellion and external pressures. 8. Gupta Empire, circa 320 to 550 CE. Region: Indian subcontinent. Peak, known as the Golden Age of India for advancements in science, art, and culture. Decline, fell to Hun invasions. Medieval wars. 5. Crusades, 1096 to 1291. Regions involved: European Christians versus Muslims in the Middle East. Deaths, 1 to 3 million. Duration, 200 years, intermittent. Outcome, Muslims retained control of the Holy Land. 6. Mongol conquests, 1206 to 1368. Regions involved: Mongol Empire versus Eurasia, China, Persia, Russia, Eastern Europe. Deaths, 20 to 40 million. Duration, 162 years. Outcome, Mongols established the largest contiguous empire in history. 7. Hundred Years' War, 1337 to 1453. Regions involved: England versus France. Deaths, 2 to 3 million. Duration, 116 years. Outcome, France won. Medieval empires. 9. Byzantine Empire, 330 to 1453 CE. O region, Eastern Mediterranean, Balkans, and Anatolia. O peak, preserved Roman culture and Christianity, flourished under Justinian I. O decline, fell to the Ottoman Turks in 1453. 10. Islamic Caliphates, 7th-13th centuries. O region, Middle East, North Africa, Spain, and Central Asia. O peak, Umayyad and Abbasid Caliphate spread Islam and advanced science, art, and culture. O decline, fragmented due to internal strife and Mongol invasions. 11. Mongol Empire, 1206 to 1368. O region, Eurasia, China, Persia, Russia, Eastern Europe. O peak, largest contiguous empire in history under Genghis Khan and his successors. O decline, fractured into smaller khanates. 12. Holy Roman Empire, 800 to 1806. O region, Central Europe. O peak, a loose confederation of territories under the nominal rule of an emperor. O decline, dissolved during the Napoleonic Wars. Early modern wars. 8. 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648. O regions involved, Holy Roman Empire, Germany, and European powers. O deaths, 4 to 8 million. O duration, 30 years. O outcome, Peace of Westphalia, established modern state sovereignty. 9. Napoleonic Wars, 1803 to 1815. O regions involved, France versus coalitions of European powers. O deaths, 3.5 to 6 million. O duration, 12 years. O outcome, coalition victory, Napoleon defeated at Waterloo. Early modern empires. 13. Ottoman Empire, 1299 to 1922. O region, Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Europe. O peak, controlled trade routes and cultural hubs like Constantinople. O decline, weakened by nationalism, European powers, and World War I. 14. Mughal Empire, 1526 to 1857. O region, Indian subcontinent. O peak, known for cultural achievements, for example, Taj Mahal, under Akbar the Great. O decline, fell to British colonial rule. 15. Spanish Empire, 1492 to 1898. O region, Americas, Philippines, parts of Europe and Africa. O peak, first global empire, fueled by colonization and silver from the Americas. O decline, lost territories due to wars and independence movements. 16. British Empire, 16th-20th centuries. O region, global, for example, India, Africa, Americas, Australia. O peak, largest empire in history, the empire on which the sun never sets. O decline, decolonization after World War II. Modern wars. 10. American Civil War, 1861 to 1865. O regions involved, United States, Union versus Confederacy. O deaths, 620,000. O duration, 4 years. O outcome, Union victory, slavery abolished. 11. World War I, 1914 to 1918. O regions involved, Allies, UK, France, Russia, USA, versus Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire. O deaths, 15 to 20 million. O duration, 4 years. O outcome, Allied victory. 12. World War II, 1939 to 1945. O regions involved, Allies, USA, UK, USSR, France, versus Axis, Germany, Japan, Italy. O deaths, 70 to 85 million. O duration, 6 years. O outcome, Allied victory. 13. Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975. O regions involved, North Vietnam, with Soviet/Chinese support, versus South Vietnam, with US support. O deaths, 2 to 3 million. O duration, 20 years. O outcome, North Vietnam won, unification under communism. 14. Cold War, 1947 to 1991. O regions involved, USA/NATO versus USSR/Warsaw Pact, global proxy wars. O deaths, millions, indirectly through proxy wars. O duration, 44 years. O outcome, USSR collapsed, USA won. 21st century conflicts. 15. Iraq War, 2003 to 2011. O regions involved, USA/coalition versus Iraq. O deaths, 200,000 to 1 million. O duration, 8 years. O outcome, Saddam Hussein overthrown, long-term instability. 16. Syrian Civil War, 2011 President O regions involved, Syrian government versus rebels, with international involvement. O deaths, 500,000 plus. O duration, ongoing. O outcome, ongoing. Modern empires. 17. Russian Empire, 1721 to 1917. O region, Eastern Europe, Siberia, Central Asia. O peak, expanded under Peter the Great and Catherine the Great. O decline, collapse during the Russian Revolution. 18. Qing Dynasty, 1644 to 1912. O region, China. O peak, expanded China's borders to their greatest extent. O decline, fell due to internal rebellion and foreign intervention. 19. French Colonial Empire, 16th-20th centuries. O region, Africa, Southeast Asia, Americas. O peak, second largest colonial empire after Britain. O decline, lost territories after World War II. 18th century. 1. American Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783. O regions involved, 13 American colonies versus Great Britain. O deaths, 25,000 to 70,000, including civilians. O duration, 8 years. O outcome, U.S. independence. 2. Northwest Indian War, 1785 to 1795. O regions involved, U.S. versus Native American tribes, for example, Shawnee, Miami. O deaths, 1,000 plus. O duration, 10 years. O outcome, U.S. victory, Treaty of Greenville. 19th century. 3. War of 1812, 1812 to 1815. O regions involved, U.S. versus Great Britain. O deaths, 15,000. O duration, 3 years. O outcome, stalemate, Treaty of Ghent. 4. Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848. O regions involved, U.S. versus Mexico. O deaths, 13,000 to 25,000. O duration, 2 years. O outcome, U.S. victory, Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. 5. American Civil War, 1861 to 1865. O regions involved, Union, North, versus Confederacy, South. O deaths, 620,000. O duration, 4 years. O outcome, Union victory, slavery abolished. 6. Spanish-American War, 1898. O regions involved, U.S. versus Spain. O deaths, 5,000. O duration, 6 months. O outcome, U.S. victory, gained territories, for example, Philippines, Puerto Rico. 20th century. 7. World War I, 1917 to 1918. O regions involved, U.S., Allies, versus Germany, Central Powers. O deaths, 116,000 U.S. military deaths. O duration, 1.5 years, U.S. involvement. O outcome, Allied victory. 8. World War II, 1941 to 1945. O regions involved, U.S., Allies, versus Axis powers, Germany, Japan, Italy. O deaths, 405,000 U.S. military deaths. O duration, 4 years, U.S. involvement. O outcome, Allied victory. 9. Korean War, 1950 to 1953. O regions involved, U.S./UN/South Korea versus North Korea/China. O deaths, 36,000 U.S. military deaths. O duration, 3 years. O outcome, stalemate, Korea remains divided. 10. Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975. O regions involved, U.S. South Vietnam versus North Vietnam/Viet Cong. O deaths, 58,000 U.S. military deaths. O duration, 20 years, U.S. involvement, 1965 to 1973. O outcome, North Vietnam victory, unification under communism. 11. Gulf War, 1990 to 1991. O regions involved, U.S.-led coalition versus Iraq. O deaths, 300 U.S. military deaths. O duration, 7 months. O outcome, coalition victory, Iraq expelled from Kuwait. 21st century. 12. War in Afghanistan, 2001 to 2021. Regions involved, US NATO versus Taliban/Al Qaeda. Deaths, 2,400 US military deaths. Duration, 20 years. Outcome, Taliban regained control after US withdrawal. 13. Iraq War, 2003 to 2011. Regions involved, US coalition versus Iraq. Deaths, 4,500 US military deaths. Duration, 8 years. Outcome, Saddam Hussein overthrown, long-term instability. 14. Global War on Terror, 2001 present. Regions involved, US versus terrorist groups, for example, Al Qaeda, ISIS. Deaths, 7,000 US military deaths, across multiple conflicts. Duration, ongoing. Outcome, ongoing. Other notable conflicts. 15. Philippine-American War, 1899 to 1902. Regions involved, US versus Filipino revolutionaries. Deaths, 4,200 US military deaths, 200,000 Filipino deaths. Duration, 3 years. Outcome, US victory, Philippines became a US territory. 16. Banana Wars, 1898 to 1934. Regions involved, US interventions in Latin America, for example, Cuba, Nicaragua. Deaths, thousands. Duration, 36 years. Outcome, US influence in the region. 17. Cold War Proxy Wars, 1947 to 1991. Regions involved, US versus USSR, for example, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan. Deaths, millions, indirectly. Duration, 44 years. Outcome, USSR collapsed, US won. Major wars in history. Ancient wars and empires, oldest. 1. Akkadian Empire, circa 2334 to 2154 BCE. First known empire in history. 2. Trojan War, circa 1200 BCE. Legendary conflict between Troy and Greek city-states. 3. Egyptian Empire, New Kingdom, circa 1550 to 1070 BCE. Height of ancient Egypt's power. 4. Assyrian Empire, circa 911 to 609 BCE. Brutal Mesopotamian Empire known for military conquests. 5. Persian Wars, 499 to 449 BCE. Greece versus Persia, Marathon, Thermopylae, Salamis. 6. Persian Empire, Achaemenid 550 to 330 BCE. Largest empire before Alexander the Great. 7. Peloponnesian War, 431 to 404 BCE. Athens versus Sparta for Greek dominance. 8. Mauryan Empire, 322 to 185 BCE. First major unified Indian empire under Ashoka. 9. Punic Wars, 264 to 146 BCE. Rome versus Carthage, Hannibal's famous campaigns. Classical empires and wars. 10. Han Dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 CE. Golden Age of China, Silk Road expansion. 11. Roman Empire, 27 BCE to 476 CE in West, 330 to 1453 CE in East. Dominant Mediterranean power, fell to Germanic invasions. 12. Gupta Empire, circa 320 to 550 CE. Golden Age of India in science and culture. Medieval wars and empires. 13. Byzantine Empire, 330 to 1453 CE. Eastern Roman Empire, fell to Ottomans. 14. Islamic caliphates, 7th-13th centuries. Umayyad and Abbasid expansions across Middle East and Europe. 15. Crusades, 1096 to 1291. Christians versus Muslims for Holy Land control. 16. Mongol Empire, 1206 to 1368. Largest contiguous land empire under Genghis Khan. 17. Hundred Years' War, 1337 to 1453. England versus France, Joan of Arc's era. 18. Holy Roman Empire, 800 to 1806. Decentralized European Empire, dissolved by Napoleon. Early modern wars and empires. 19. Ottoman Empire, 1299 to 1922. Islamic Empire that conquered Constantinople. 20. Spanish Empire, 1492 to 1898. First global empire via American colonization. 21. 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648. Religious conflict in Europe, led to modern statehood. 22. Mughal Empire, 1526 to 1857. Peak of Indian culture, Taj Mahal built. 23. British Empire, 16th-20th centuries, the largest empire in history via colonization. 18th-19th century wars. 24. American Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1783. U.S. independence from Britain. 25. Northwest Indian War, 1785 to 1795. U.S. expansion versus native tribes. 26. Napoleonic Wars, 1803 to 1815. France versus Europe, ended at Waterloo. 27. War of 1812, 1812 to 1815. U.S. versus Britain, ended in stalemate. 28. Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848. U.S. annexation of Texas and Southwest. 29. American Civil War, 1861 to 1865. Union versus Confederacy, slavery abolished. 30. Spanish-American War, 1898. U.S. gained Philippines, Puerto Rico. 20th Century Wars. 31. World War I, 1914 to 1918. Allies versus Central Powers, led to World War II. 32. Russian Empire collapse, 1917. Russian Revolution, USSR formed. 33. World War II, 1939 to 1945. Allies versus Axis, deadliest war in history. 34. Cold War, 1947 to 1991. US versus USSR, proxy wars globally. 35. Korean War, 1950 to 1953. North versus South Korea, still divided. 36. Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975. Communist North defeated US-backed South. 37. Gulf War, 1990 to 1991. US-led coalition expelled Iraq from Kuwait. 21st century, newest. 38. War in Afghanistan, 2001 to 2021. US versus Taliban, ended in Taliban victory. 39. Iraq War, 2003 to 2011. Saddam overthrown, long-term instability. 40. Syrian Civil War, 2011 present. Ongoing conflict with global involvement. Summary of key eras. Oldest, Akkadian Empire, 2334 BCE. Classical Antiquity, Roman and Han Empires, 200 BCE to 500 CE. Medieval, Crusades and Mongol conquests, 1096 to 1368 CE. Colonial, Spanish and British empires, 1492-20th century. Modern, World War I to present, 1914 today.